free race tension here.
Yeah, this is it.
Pretty nerve-wracking. There's the team assembling back there. Well, do you have any famous words for posterity?
Famous words.
Cyto Max burp.
Yeah. Just stay loose, have fun.
Okay. Well, this is how it looks, folks. This is how we get ready for Ultraman.
We got ready the last 6 months.
That's right.
We're ready now.
It's here. Okay.
Are they taking off?
And if I take pictures,
Are you going in the car? Yeah. Okay, here's one picture.
In about 7 minutes to start, so escorts, if you haven't put your boats in the water, do it right now, please.
okay, Betty Lynn, I'll see you at the other end.
Hey, Louise.
Yeah. No, look,
Take a walk, be safe,
have fun.
Cowman!
Not the hard part.
Cyrus!
Yes.
Okay, Paul McKenna!
How much time? Curtis?
Okay, go for it! About 2.5, something like that. I'll let you know in 2 minutes. Thanks. Any swimmers? for us today. Here it comes. Lambert Leroy, thank you for coming. One minute to start. 1 minute to start. 1 minute to start. I'll give you a 30 seconds.
Really? It's starting to cloud up really early. Everything is aimed that way.
While the tourists play, off in the distance, 3 hours later, our swimmers struggle under an ever-increasing sea. A challenge. Challenge now is to get out of that water alive. Keep going so you can ride mile after mile in this nice cool rain. Little storm picked up, if you can't tell on the film. It was blown in and picked up some choppy seas.
We've already had a blast. You know, it's funny
At the finish.
I have run into him and Bucky for 2 weeks. Calling Santa Barbara trying to get a split. I got screwed up on the time, and I got home at 9 o'clock. I showed up Wednesday.
Wednesday?
Yeah. So I called and I got home.
James, I know what you're getting wet. Please get out. I'm wet.
That wasn't so bad. Hey, buddy. What kept you? Your mum's getting wet. Okay.
Lanny, all right! Leslie!
All right, Wes, baby. We'll see you on Sunday. Go ahead. You got it. Right on, kiddo.
Coming through. All right. Good job.
All right, 31. All set, dude.
And the right side of the road as you go up there. We'll be traffic up there.
I'll get you here.
One guy's looking down.
Here's your jacket.
The road over there.
Good girl.
Is that sound on?
The sound is on. We're in about the 1 hour of the race, Peter.
Yeah, well, obviously it was pretty bad weather. The first time I've ever seen weather like this at Ultraman. This treacherous, really, this early in the race. I've never seen it like this before. And they're gonna be in for a pretty chilly day, but the race is all about.
And so, what's the time that we're into the race, and what mile do you think we're at?
What are we at right now?
Yeah.
Probably around 30 miles. 30 miles or so. 25 to 30 miles right now.
You know what time of day it is?
Right now it's 5 to 12. So
At noon.
Yeah.
Okay.
5.5 hours into the race.
Okay. Well, nice rainstorm. We'll be back in a while. Oh, good. You want me to talk to him?
Hey, Woody. Hang in there, guy.
Hi, Woody.
Hey, how you doing?
Nice job, Woody. How do you feel?
Thanks.
How do you feel?
Oh, I feel flat.
Well, good. See you later.
Woo, woo, woo.
Oh, excuse me.
Is that Gary? Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
thank you. That's all right. It's just if I show it to him later, he may like it.
Yeah, I might know. Is that Gary?
No,
No.
Gary's already been in.
Oh, is he in? What time did he get in?
I don't know, he's been in for 40 minutes.
Oh, really? Good for him.
That's Woody.
That's Woody. Thank you. Good piece, though.
Woo.
Yeah, I just...
That was it. I was going to... Missed it. Oh, my gosh. The cat.
This guy's real on singing too.
All right. You feel pretty good, eh? You feel pretty good?
Great job.
Is it rolling?
Yes.
Well, should we talk about the way of life? Or we'll,
On the road of life?
The road of life. This road of life is either bumpy or curvy. This road that we drove today and the one I had the last 24 hours happens to be bumpy curvy. That's a big difference. I guess you had to be there to just kind of appreciate that.
No, just before 2, it's 3 now. And I think Woody...
he must have had a great ride.
Yeah, Woody was like 8 miles behind him is what I heard.
Why don't you put these on?
I don't know. I just got here. I didn't think I was going to even see you finish.
Hi,
Hi, how are you? I'm fine.
How are y'all feeling?
And I feel 100 times better than I did last year.
You look great.
I mean, this place
You're
we're
way
staying
ahead of
at-
everybody.
This place we're staying at is unbelievable.
Yeah?
I'm over an hour and 15 minutes faster than last year.
Really?
Both events went much better than last year.
Even though it didn't seem like the rain made it worse?
Yeah. I mean, the swim was much better. I felt comfortable and pretty strong the whole way. The bike was okay. I got a tailwind. Just that first part of that climb, you know, it's right when you first start climbing. The first 1,000 feet is the worst part. The end of that climb's not that bad.
Pretty subtle.
If you can get up to 15 miles within the finish, it's not too bad. As you know, right, Peter?
Yeah, it's.
Because right now I have 2 deals that are pending that are going to close, and this week I haven't worked that much on it. Only about 1 hour, because I got all the inspections done, just ready to go. Just waiting for it to close.
I've never done that.
These 2 are the same. They're my sellers and then buyers for the next one. And they just do everything I tell them to do.
Yeah.
There we are, the big
Mortgage lender.
first beer barrel. Friday afternoon beer barrel for Barbara Myrick Pictures.
Good idea.
Okay.
To lock in.
Hey, Chef.
Maybe we can close early.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Oh, wow!
No problem.
That's all right, drop it. Now I got it. I got the in there with the sparklers.
Sure. Need one for me? How about
That's it. Literature just shows up.
the director's here? Doesn't it
We don't even need this sweet cards. We need this. Not even this card. We just did the toast. But I was too.
Get that damn camera out of my face.
I was too busy enjoying the toast to get the camera out. Here we are. Pretty humble gathering.
See, did I tell you? I was here to put a fire out.
Yeah, all right. Hey, thank you for that nice toast, Robert. I didn't get it on tape. We'll do it next year.
Robert, did yours schedule? I'm still here.
It's a really funny show.
Hey, what's left, Cher?
Corona, honey.
Couple. Okay. Few cases of Corona.
Very good.
You got it right. Still that producer right now.
This is Denmark. I am teaching the kids on the short bus how to run the computer.
Ready? I'm not in it. You're the only thing in it. Yay! Here we go.
Are we rolling?
We're rolling.
I think so. You don't have a chair?
You need a chair?
We'll get you. Just one in the
We'll
office.
get you a chair. Just go.
All right.
I'm okay.
Okay. Any questions?
How do you spell computer? How do we get extra credit?
Learn quickly. Okay. I guess the basic thing to start off with. Excuse me. Do you want to share that with the rest of the class, please? No. Mr. Jacobson.
Jeffrey.
Is just to go over the basics of a computer. You've got the keyboard and the mouse, which are your input devices. You've got, most computers now are equipped with a CD player and a 3.5-inch drive, which will hold 1.4 megs of information. Of course, all that's hooked up to the monitor, which is what enables you to see everything. As far as a Macintosh is concerned, it has what's called an operating system or an operating environment, which we affectionately refer to as a desktop, and that's what this is here. The Macintosh is patterned after a standard desktop, and you treat it as such. And this is your desktop, and everything laying on top are just like the pads and papers and stuff on your desk. You've got folders here, other icons that service other functions that you can place on the desktop for easy access. Things that you don't want on your desktop would be equivalent to putting stuff in drawers and files and stuff like that. And that's what this is here. This is your hard drive. So to go into your files, you click on your hard drive. It's equivalent to opening up your drawers. Normally, on a Macintosh, you'll have things laid out in hierarchical order, meaning that all your headings will have subheadings. So as you can see here, for example, applications is the main folder, and then within that you'll have all your subsequent applications. Their folders, and then within their folders you'll have other folders, and it just keeps going down and down and down. But it's just a simple hierarchical order, which is the simplest way to keep things in order. On every Macintosh, you'll have a folder called the System folder. So we'll go into a little bit of detail about that, and not try to give you information overload. But the System folder is what holds all the information that tells the Macintosh that it's a Macintosh. Things like the desktop software, things like preferences, what's in your menu up here, control panels, everything that the Macintosh, your particular model, needs to operate is in the System folder. So you're not into the System folder too often unless you want to reconfigure things or make it operate a little differently. So for the most part, the System folder just takes care of itself. Within the System folder, which I'll open up here, are items and folders and documents that I can get a little more specific. For example, the extensions folder. The extensions are instructions that exist in the computer, in the Macintosh, that enhance its functionality. For example, if like I've got the little now contact up here. Well, there's an extension. Now, when this computer starts up, it loads those extensions in, those little icons on it loads up. Those are extensions. One of those extensions is a now contact extension telling you to put a little phone up there and for quick access to the application. So that's what an extension
So it's
does.
mostly the telling the computer to put the icons up or to activate them when they're on the desktop.
Yeah, in the simplest terms, yes. The extensions kind of configure the functionality of the computer. You've got the system software, which is basically telling it that it's, a 4-barrel carburetor,
Right.
dual overhead cam. An extension would be, the window dressing and telling it that it's got an arrangement this way with the icons, that some extensions allow you to run specific kinds of software. When you load in new software, for example, like a virus software or something like that, it will have its own extension, and it loads it into the computer, and it tells the computer, now I've got virus software in me, and I run this virus software. So those extensions are little indicators for particular types of software and enhance the functionality of that software.
So what they do is the extensions configure each individual program. They're within each extension is its individual program.
In a sense, yeah. Like, Some software, they don't have extensions that they run with and without them, but it's not real important for you at this stage to be too concerned with the extensions, other than the fact that you will, inevitably, once you get more experience with the Macintosh, be working with extensions at times and having to load an extension in, or there will be a lingering extension in the system software that when you deinstall a piece of software but you left the extension in, it's conflicting or something like that. So those are the times that you'll be dealing with extensions. But for the most part, it's not really an issue. And I don't want to get too deep into it or just end up, muddying the water. But, and usually on the desktop too, you'll have a utilities folder, which you're really not into too much. Utilities are items, tools, things like that I keep in a folder that are types of software and types of applications that help you like configure drives or convert other kinds of software. I mean, just utilities. If it's how I classify. Like if I have a piece of I'll have a file on here and I want to compress it to make it smaller to fit onto a floppy disk. Well, there's an application called stuffing. Well, that's not really an application that you run and use like Excel or something like that. It's a utility, that you use for compressing things, and I keep that in my utilities folder. So those are the kinds of things that you would keep in your utilities.
And you would use Stuffit, for example, if you're doing artwork.
Well, for anything, any kind of folder. If you've got a 3 meg file, and it won't fit onto a floppy because it's too big, we'll stuff it down to fit on a floppy. So it compresses it by about 40%, and so that's the purpose of stuffing.
Right.
But that's one particular piece of software. There's a lot of different kinds of compression software, but Stuffit is the most popular right now. So then also on here I've got a personal folder, which I just keep my personal junk in, stuff like that. An online folder, which I keep all the software that relates to the internet, online services, anything like that. So as you can see how I've got things filed, the more organized you are on your desktop, it's just like your desk. You've got your things filed. You can always find it if you need it. And it's no different than on a computer. Things just don't pop up. You've got to put them and database them correctly so whenever you need something, you can get to it in a hurry.
Well, speaking of which, this may not be the time, but how do you move that stuff around? Because I've got stuff in GreatWorks.
Right.
Now I have everything are now things. I also have things in WordPerfect.
Right.
And the things I need to have them merged together somehow.
Right. Well, I'll get to that in a second.
All right.
Which is a very good point as far as file manipulation and folder and file management. Those are real good issues. Very simple topic, but it can be very confusing if you don't know what the basic functionality is. So as you can see, on all of my folders, I've got documents here, which I don't use very often. Creative, which I keep, scripts and stuff like that in. Communications, which is, again, things that aren't internet related. They're like modem related, like the fax and any modem software. Communication software I keep in the communications folder. And then, of course, a business folder, which is all of our business-related stuff. And as you can see, I've got a sub-hierarchy in there, which is Barbara Myrick and Distributors and Myrick Entertainment and old stuff. And, of course, applications, which is always good to keep your core applications in its own folder. So in case you ever need to go back to the core application and do something or change it or whatever, they're all here. And this is what I have on this computer, Quicken and Quark, Now, Contact, and Up to Date. All those are under the applications, which is just another name for software. Apple Extras, you'll probably never be into. It's just, again, some more functionality software that really won't relate to you until you get a little more well-versed on the computer. So that's basically it as far as the concept behind how to set up your hierarchies and stuff like that. Now we'll get a little bit more into what folders do, how to move them around, what files are, and how to move those around and stuff like that. So as you can see here, this is a window, which is called just that, a window. And within that window, you have all these folders. Now, this you can set up your view in several different ways. Under the view icon here, you can view everything by an icon, which will show it this way, or you can view it by name, which is the way I choose to do it. To me, it's much more organized because everything's alphabetized. And plus, with the icon view, you don't have to open up the folder to see what's in it. You can click the little arrow and it drops down, and all this is what's in here. Okay. Same thing. If I open up communications, it's those files. Or I can just open it up this way, and it's those same files. So that's a real quick way of being able to check what's inside. So that's why you always see on my computer, it's like this. Other people, their stuff's always listed by icons. To me, that gets real confusing when you've got 40 folders on there, nothing's alphabetized, and you're like looking around.
Yeah.
You know, it just takes more time. Under the name, you can also sort things by date, meaning by when it was last modified. As you can see, it will list things when it was according to what was last modified. By label, which I have no labels in there, so it doesn't really make any difference. But you can put labels like, important, or my stuff or whatever. I never use labels. But, or by, let me see here, by kind of folder, which if you have a bunch of documents from one particular application, it'll list all the Excel documents together and all the Word documents together. So,
Even though there's no difference on that one.
no, these are all folders, so it doesn't,
So it'd be the stuff in the folders.
right, it would be the files themselves. By size, which are all...
How do you know that's a folder? Because that's just what it
It's got a
is.
folder
It's like
icon.
that.
That's a little folder icon.
Folder icon.
Right. And that, I'll show you, is, see that little paper? That's a file icon. Files go into folders. Okay?
File.
So,
When you said it's a little piece of paper, huh?
right. Like under applications, you'll see here, you've got, for example, Microsoft Excel. That's the Microsoft Excel folder. And they have a little folder icon there.
Mm-hmm.
It either looks like that under the list view mode, or under icon mode, it looks like a folder, just bigger. Now, we go within that folder, and you'll see other folders. You can see the little arrows next to them, and then you can see the files. These are files, or little pieces of paper. And those are what you click on, and you'll open up the file itself. Now this little square here with a little handwriting on it is the actual application. And it'll tell you that application program. Custom dictionary is a document. Document and file is the same thing. And this is listed as folders. You can see folder, document, and application. So that lets you know the three different kinds of things. So if you want to open up just the Excel application, then you'll go under the application program, Microsoft Excel. This tells you how big it is. It's 5 megs. It's the application program. If you click on that, it'll open up Excel. Well, you won't open up the document. You won't open up the folder. You open up the application itself. Brand new, fresh. It'll have an untitled window there telling you starting new.
Okay, so that's to get an untitled window. I read it yesterday.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that's the core application we just opened up.
That's how you do it. Well, all right. I needed that.
And here it is, Workbook 1, and it's an empty, clean window. Okay? So, now I can close this sheet if I want to. I can close this out, but not close out the application by just clicking on this window box. It closes out that document, which it isn't a document because I haven't saved it, but the application's still there. Okay? Now, if I want to open up a document, let's say if I've got one invoice format is an Excel spreadsheet document. Okay, as you can see, it's a little document, and it's an Excel document. So if I open that up, it's going to give me the spreadsheet, that earned date invoice. Okay, and that's what it is. All right. Okay, so now to quit out of the application.
Now wait, before you leave it, I have a question since you're in there. I tried to modify those and I got locked into it.
Modify what?
Well, post-production bid invoice, that line there, above that I tried to put in the name and address, and it wouldn't go in.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
Yeah. And also when I went down to producer contact, the producers, and I tried to type in their names, also, it typed it in and then it locked.
Okay. Well, before I get into that, because see now you're asking me questions about specifically about Excel. And how do you work with Excel? That's way ahead of ourselves.
I see. All right.
Right now I'm just talking about how applications relate to folders, and we're real on page 1 right now.
Okay.
So to quit out of an application, for example, Excel, you just go up to File and you hit Quit, or you can hit the Control key, the Apple key, and hit Q, and it'll quit.
Control Apple and the Q at the same time.
Just the Apple and Q at the same time. Now you'll notice, let me clear this
So
up.
why'd you have to do that for? Why couldn't you just click the up at the corner of the window?
Well, it's quicker. You know, see all these letters here? These are all keyboard strokes that are equivalent to what those functions do.
Yeah, that's important. I've been never known.
Okay?
So that means Apple G. Apple, I'm going to
Exactly. This little curly Q here,
Right.
which is the Apple key, Apple G.
G, Apple F. Okay,
Apple F.
okay. Yeah. That's even what the IBMs do, only this is the short.
This is the right. And a lot of people are mouse-driven people. They like to use the mouse to find everything. And other people are like tuk, 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 tuk. I'm a combination of both. I do keyboard strokes and mouses. So it's just however you develop over your evolution of working with the Mac. Okay, so we're back at the desktop again. We've closed out our applications and we're back at the desktop again. The desktop has its specific menu functions up here. And so I'll open up our Woodstock hard drive. She's back. Is she? Okay. Yeah. And we're back in applications. Okay, so we were just operating within Microsoft Excel. Okay. There's the main application here. So whenever you open up Excel, you write something in a document and you save it. You have a choice to save it somewhere. Okay. So we're going to open up Excel. We're going to create a document. Okay, so this is a document. We'll type something in here. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. And we will save it. We can save as, and I can name it, Dan's Excel document. This dialog box comes up here. This is what's called a dialog box. Whenever something like this pops up, it's called a dialog box. And what it's telling you to do is that you're going to name this default name is Workbook 1, but you want to name it, let's say, Dan's document. Okay? These buttons off here to the right are different option buttons. Okay? Cancel just means forget it. I don't want to save it. Cancel. I'm going to go back to the spreadsheet. Desktop, this button here, means that you want to go back to the desktop. And what this window is here.
Just pick that up a little for me, Troy. I'm going to just grab this phone. Oops. And you're live.
We'll give him a half an hour.
Speed. Okay. Back to the dialog box. This dialog box comes up whenever you want to save something, or a similar version thereof. Within the dialog box is this little menu here. what this is just showing you all the folders within folders. This is the desktop here. So you can see, as evidenced by this upper menu here, saying, look, this is everything that's on the desktop. The Woodstock file, the Color Star Rider 2400 icon, which is down here at the bottom. I'll show you here real quick. Oh, I can't move that. In the case of this, I'll show you. Okay, so we want to save this, and we're going to save as. Okay, so it's showing you on the desktop the Woodstock, which is up there, Color Star Rider 2400, which is this on my desktop, the web stuff, which is that folder, the trash, of course, which is down there. You know, these are grayed out because you can't open those from here, okay, because they aren't folders. But as you can see, the web stuff you can open from here because it's a folder. Now it's showing you everything that's inside that folder, okay. All this is for, and you can see now. You can go back to the desktop from this menu here, or you can click on this button. Now I'm back at the desktop. This is just finding an area where you want to save your document. That's all this window is for. So, let's say I want to save this document in my business folder. It's a budget or a bid or proposal. So we want to go find where Barbara Mark is and all that good stuff. So it's within Woodstock, of course. So you click on that. There's the business folder. You go, keep going in Barbara Mark.
It stayed on like that.
Right.
It stayed in the box. I don't know.
Right. So now we go into bids and proposals. Okay. And now this is where I want to save it. All right. There's documents, and then you just hit save, and it'll save it in there.
And it'll save it in there because you've tracked it down to that.
You told it where to save.
By having it up on the screen. In other words, if you'd hit it before, it would have saved it on the desktop.
Right. Or wherever that happens to be open. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Sometimes it's open in some arbitrary folder and you hit save and then you go back to find it. You're like, where the hell is it? You don't know where it is.
Oh, wow.
So now, when I go back to the desktop here, if you'll notice, I'll click on Woodstock, go to Business, go to Barbara Myrick, go to Bids and Proposals, and go to,
what did you call it? Maybe you never named it nothing. So workbook 1.
Workbook 1.
I didn't.
That's it. Workbook 1.
There it is,
That's
right
it.
there.
Right.
Workbook 1. So we don't need that. I'm just trashing it.
By dragging it.
Right. So that lets you. That's how you save things to specific areas. We'll go back here again. Let's see. New document here. Workbook 2. We'll save as Dan's doc, and I'll put this in my folder. So now, as you can see, it's gone back to inside Bids and Proposals, and it shows you the hierarchy here. Bids and Proposals is in Barbara Mark, which is in Business, which is on Woodstock, which is on the desktop.
Wow!
Okay?
Wow!
That's what
How
that
did you
is.
get that? Now wait a minute. What you hit? You hit Bids Proposals, and it shows you that.
Right. It shows you. We're in Bids and Proposals right now. That's what this is. Okay?
Right.
So to get out of that folder and go to the one prior to it, you can go to Barbara Myrick, and that's Barbara Myrick. There's Bids and Proposals. Go back to Bids and Proposals. There's Barbara Myrick. So you can either go straight back up to the desktop, or go to one of the subsequent folders. As you can see, go straight back to the desktop there. So I want to save my folder in my document. I want to save it in my folder. So you just go to Woodstock, Personal, okay, and this is where my little folder is, okay. So I'm going to save Dan's doc into my personal folder, and then you just hit save. And that's just a title window that if you want to be the title and subject and author, you can put that information on your document, but it's kind of innocuous, so I never do that. So there's Dan's doc, and now if you'll see, I'll go back into, close these desktop windows out, go back into Woodstock, under Personal, there's Dan's doc, okay, and that's how you put things in the right places. And empty trash when you don't use it. Okay. So that's a real brief way of when you save the document, how you put it somewhere you want it to be. Now, we're back at the desktop again. It looks like nothing is open, but Excel is still open because we never did quit out of it. Okay? And how you can tell that is if you go up to the little icon up here and hold it down, it's letting you know Excel is still open. Okay? Now, if you want to get back into Excel, all you do is drag it right here, and it opens up, it puts you back into Excel because it was never closed. You'll also see if I open up something else, for example, let me open up something that will open, suitcase. Okay, this is a suitcase, which we won't get into this, but that's open as well. So now you can see, oh no, it's not, I closed it. Schedule, let's do it. So now I've opened up now up to date. And Excel is also open too. And that's where you run into memory problems because there's only so much RAM on this computer. And you can't have too many applications open at once because they require RAM to be open. But now, as you can see, I've got now Date Open and Excel and Stickies. Stickies are these little notes here. They take up no memory, so that's always open. But now you can see I've got now Up to Date and Excel. I want to switch back over to Excel, I just do that. And I'm back in Excel. I want to go back over to Now Up to Date. I click on the upper right icon, I go back to Now Up to Date.
So the icon in the upper right-hand corner is how you go back and forth between two open files.
Exactly. The two open applications. And it also allows you to let you know what's open. Sometimes if you run into a memory crunch, you're going, what's going on, and you need to go up there and say, oh, you know, I've got all these applications open.
But it's two. I mean, to go back and forth, first off, you have had to open them.
Correct.
So they both have to be open at the same time.
Right.
And that icon there is really the only way to go back and forth fluidly.
Well,
or the primary way.
Yeah, that's the primary way. I mean, there's other ways to switch back and forth, but just I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible.
Right. Yeah.
So that's basically the rudimentary system for saving a document to a particular folder. And that's real important because that's one of the biggest things that a new user goes through is they're saving documents and they don't know where the hell they're saving them to. They've got documents all over the place and spend more time looking for things. So that's one thing you have to really keep in mind is keep track of where you're saving things, have things in a nice hierarchical order, and you're not spending your time losing documents and trying to track things down. Now, in the event, and it will happen numerous times, that you do lose something, or you can't, or you're looking for a particular application or document, there's a quick way of finding that by holding down the Apple key and F, which is find. And it's a find file command. So if you know the name of the file, or at least a good portion of the name, it will search your hard drive or whatever hard drives you have connected up to your Apple, and we'll run a search for it. So let's say, for example, I've lost my Heart of Love document. Okay. I'll type in, I know what I named it, it's HOL, so I'll go in here and say, okay, HOL. And it'll search, and it'll find 15 documents that have the letters HOL in them, and there it is. Oh, there's my document. And then you can open it up from here, or at least it tells you where it is. If you click on this right here, it's telling you, okay, HOLs and HOL ideas under Creative in Snoopy, which is the folder. If you happen to be looking for Canadian holidays, well, it's letting you know it's in Holiday Imports under Now Up to Date under Applications. So that's how you find things if you really get lost.
It's a general directory alphabetically.
Right.
And then how do you get there again?
Just Apple F. And it's also in the file menu here too, which on the desktop is find. And all Apple F is just a keystroke equivalent of find. Now you can set parameters to be more specific about the search criteria, but I don't want to get into that deep with you either, or I'll end up information overload. But generally, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's common sense, you know, the name, or if you're looking for a particular size, or you can find by the date it was created, or, you know, what it starts with. If you're really lost, you know, start with A, you know, or whatever. You've got some criteria, and even more than that. I mean, by the size, you can really get fairly specific. But for the most part, it'll be Apple left, and you'll type in the name, and you'll look for it that way. So that's the basic find command.
Well, one rule of thumb to apply too is if you're unsure of the name, or you're not sure if you call it like heartbeat or heartbeats or something like that, you can type in just a portion of what you think it is, and you'll find everything with that name.
Right.
So if you get too specific when you're typing in something, sometimes you won't find it. And you say, well, gee, it's not on here. It's heartbeats, I'm sure.
Right.
And really, you named it heartbeat.
Right.
Something like that.
And that's a really good point. When you're
just
trying to
put in heart
look,
and it'll pull it
it'll
up.
put everything with the word heart in it. So, like I did when I typed in HOL, it gave me everything with the letters HOL in it. So, it's a very good point. Sometimes you give it too much information, and it's being too specific, and it'll say haven't found it. So, I'm going to be aware of that as well. Okay, so under the special menu, as you are probably fairly familiar with already, you've got the shutdown command, which shuts it down, and the restart, which allows you to restart the computer without doing a complete shutdown. Eject disk and erase disk. Erase disk allows you to format disks. Normally when you buy them from the store, a lot of times they are not formatted. If they're formatted for DOS, you can slap it in there and say erase disk, and it will ask you if you want to format it. Throw it in there, you hit erase disk, and it formats the disk for Macintosh.
Those are shaded though when you push special.
Yeah, because there's no disk in there. When you slap a disk in there, then you have that option. You know, and that's throughout the Macintosh. Things that are shaded you can't use. There's usually a reason why you can't use them. Usually a reason why you can't use them. And like empty trash, there's no trash in there. Until you put trash in there, you'll be able to use that option.
What are some of the reasons your system won't be able to take any disks that are formatted for Mac?
Well, it's kind of hard to determine. I mean, the disk itself could be physically damaged, and it will not accept it. So that's something else we have to be well aware of. Sometimes there's a corrupt file on the disk and a corrupt directory, and the Macintosh can't read the directory on the disk that tells it that it's a Mac disk. So there's...
So my Mac can't read any of your programs. I have an old Dinosaur SE.
Right.
So what's the reason for that?
It's a different operating system. I mean, what's that, 6.0 or even prior to that?
You can probably get System 7 working on Mac SE, but the programs and the file structure is probably very different because it's a completely different operating system.
And not to mention the RAM requirements of the new system software. I mean, the more RAM that comes out, software, the bigger the software becomes. So it's always that game of you got more RAM coming out now, but the software requires more RAM. So it just it's a never-ending race. In any case, that's the basic functionality of the desktop. There's a lot more involved with it, but starting off, that's more or less what you need to know, what its purpose is and what its role is in relation to the other folders and documents. It's kind of your starting point. And a lot that I do when I'm saving folders, and that's just my technique, but when I'm in and out of a lot of folders and I'm saving things, and as a matter of fact, when I'm in process and working on folders, I save them to the desktop because it's just easy to get to them. If I am working on a business application or a bid that I know I'm going to be working on for the next couple of days, well, when I save it, I don't save it deep within my folders. I just save it to the desktop because I know when I come in the next morning, I just click on it and it opens up. But you'll have your own style. It's a nice thing about the Macintosh operating environment is that you'll have your own way of. There's no real right or wrong way. There's just a more efficient way of doing things, but you'll find your own niche of how you like to do things, which can be good and bad because when you get on someone else's machine, they have a whole different way of setting things up. You can be lost. But in any case, so that's the folder structure. Now, up here is the Apple menu. Excuse me. Under the Apple menu, you'll have under this first menu item here is about this Macintosh. When you open that up, now we're on the desktop now, it's letting you know how much system software how much RAM the system software is taking up. Now this computer has 5 megs of RAM on it. It comes stock with 5 megs of RAM, which isn't a lot. As you can see, the system software is taking up 4.8 megs of RAM, and the system software is just the software to get the computer up and running. Okay, so in stickies, as you can see here, it's taking 120K, which is nil, nada. So it's letting you know how much RAM, and when you have other applications open, they'll all be listed here, and it's letting you know how much RAM each one of those applications is taking up. That's what About This Macintosh basically is. And also it lets you know information like what software version, what system software version is this, 7.5.1. So if you have a technical question to somebody, like, what software version do you have? Well, 7.5.3. Oh, it won't run on that, you know. This is where you get that information. Okay, further on down the list, you can see I have my applications are what called aliases that allow you to access your core applications much more efficiently. And this is the way most people like doing things. For example, as you can see, I have Excel listed here. This will open up the Excel application and start me off with a clean worksheet, just like I did before. It prevents me from having to go into the Woodstock, go into applications, and open up Excel, and then finally get to Excel and open up one. What you do is you find the core application, and you single click on it like that. You've got it highlighted, and you make what's called an alias. It says make alias. And there it says Microsoft Excel alias. Now this alias is nothing more than a pointer. It's not the application. It's not a document. It is an icon that whenever you click on that icon, it will open up that core application. So you can leave the core application nice and neat nestled in your applications folder on your hard drive, but you can make that alias and put it anywhere to open up that core application.
Because you made an alias, and it shows in there what you just closed, it still showed up on your desktop because it's an alias.
It's an alias.
Okay.
All it is it's just a pointer telling you where, allowing you to open up the core application. Now, what I do, and what a lot of people do, is they'll go into their system folder, as you can see here, into the system folder, like I said before, it configures your Macintosh. Under the system folder, there's a folder called Apple Menu Items, and that's what that is. Those are Apple Menu Items. Okay, so well, I want to put my alias in my Apple Menu Items. You open that up, and you stick that sucker in there. And now, as you can see,
You just pulled it right in.
there it is.
By just
drag
pulling it
right
into
in.
that file.
Happened so fast that
Right. You just drag it in. And that's the beauty of Mac. It's drag and drop. Apple Menu Items. You can either open up the folder itself and drag it in like this. Okay.
just anywhere, huh? It just makes
Anywhere.
goes where it,
Right. Puts it in alphabetically. Or you can drag it on. You don't even have to open the folder. You can just drag it until that folder highlights. And it sticks it in there.
Wow.
Okay. And there it is. And under your Apple, there it is. Okay. So since I already have an Excel in there, I don't need it. So what I did is, as you can see, my alias, and you'll notice aliases are always in italicized. Okay. This Excel is an alias. It's identical to this alias. They're pointing to the same document. All I did was edit the words, the title, which you can do at any time by simply single-clicking on the words below any icon. So you go like that, and see how a box goes around it? Then your cursor turns into a little editing tool. Okay, and then you can edit out the words and call it whatever you want. You can call it, Excel or shithead, whatever I want to call it. But I called mine Excel, and I stuck it into my Apple Menu Items, and there it sits. Okay. So now I don't have to go through 4 levels of folders to open up a brand new Excel document. I just go over here and hit Excel, and it opens it up. Same goes for Word. Same goes for my schedule. For now, up to date.
Is stickies in there?
No, sticky is not in there. I don't need it to.
Oh, because it's already on top.
It's already on
So
top.
okay, that's a whole different
I
thing.
never
All right.
close sticky, so that's what the Apple menu items do. Now, you can throw away an alias, but you're not throwing away the application. All you're doing is throwing away the alias, the pointer to the application, which is harmless. So as you can see, with something in the trash, now empty trash is highlighted. And you can just hit it, and it asks you, it contains one item, it uses up 11K of space. Are you sure you want to permanently remove it? You say, yes, I do. And then you'll see a little trash can go skinny again. So that's what aliases do. Now, further on down the Apple menu, you'll see now not all, this is the way I've just worked my Apple menu. Normally you won't have an Apple stuff folder like that. I created that folder to put in Apple related gizmos. On every Apple computer you'll have this stock bullshit in there. It'll be like the audio CD player, the calculator, the chooser, of course you guys know about the chooser, find file, jigsaw puzzle, I mean just a bunch of, there's the stickies application, stuff like that you're not into a lot. Every now and then you're into, maybe once a day or something like that. So rather than have all these items listed here taking up more room, what I did is under the system folder, in the Apple menu items folder, I created a new folder and stuck all that crap in it. Okay? So for example, under File menu, you can create a new folder. And there it is, untitled folder. And now just for example's sake, I can stick Word in there, I can stick Schedule in there, the Maker I can stick in there, I can stick Quark in there, I can stick all that shit in there. Call it,